Hello again, and welcome to our midweek time together. Just want to share a little something with you today that's been on my mind. Just an incident that happened in my life several years ago. It's God has brought it back to my mind a lot lately. I've been thinking about that and how God worked in my life. So I'm just going to tell you a little story of something that happened to me back in the fall of 1993. I was doing a Bible study called Experiencing God, and while doing it, God really began to work through me and work on me about some changes He wanted to make in my life. And I had a real desire to experience God. And so I really felt God was moving to do something new and different in my life. And I kept praying about it for a long time, and nothing seemed to change, but I kept praying and about what is it God wants me to do. And one day I was actually quite, I guess you might say, I was discouraged that, well, God, I feel this, but I don't see you doing anything. And I got a advertisement in the mail, a little card or something that was advertising Experiencing God, the magazine, where you could read stories of how people experience God. And my thought was, when I read that, is I don't want to read a magazine about experiencing God, how people do, others do that. I want to experience God myself. And out of that frustration, I called a friend. And he was pastoring a church in Northwest Arkansas. I was in Louisiana at that time. And I said, I don't know, God's been really working on me lately. And what if I moved to Northwest Arkansas and I had been out of teaching for 12 years, a former teacher, been out for 12 years. I said, well, what if I went back to school teaching and came up there and helped you? Is there something I could do really specifically that I could help you with? And my friend just said, wow. I said, what? And he said, well, I feel God's calling me to plant a new church here in Northwest Arkansas. And I was just sitting here praying, okay, Lord, I'll give in. I will do what I think you're calling me to do. But would you please send somebody to help me? And the phone rang. Well, I'm not always good at figuring out God's will sometimes, but I figured that one out pretty quick. I think this is what God is doing. I think I'm experiencing God here. So I began to work and to pray about that, and to look at moving to Northwest Arkansas, going back into teaching. And that's a whole nother story. I had to recertify teaching as a teacher and all kinds of things. But this started in January of 94. And I worked for months and months trying to get a teaching job. The market is pretty heavy in Northwest Arkansas, hard to find jobs there in that sense. And I'd been out for 12 years, and it didn't look like anything was going to work for months and months. Well, the week before school started, there was a teacher at a school in Northwest Arkansas who, when she saw the list of students, this is how close it was to the beginning of school. When she saw the list of students she was going to get, and she realized what behavioral problems she saw in that list of students, she went to her principal and said, I would like a year's leave of absence. And so suddenly this principal needs a teacher. After work that day, the principal goes by the bank. While she's in the bank, she runs into a banker there. The banker happens to be a friend of mine who is thinking about helping us in starting this new church, being a part of that. And they get to talking, and she says, man, I need a new teacher. I'd really like a man teacher if I could find one. Do you know anybody who might be interested? My banker friend says, oh, I think I know someone. So he calls me. I call the principal, and I'm hired on Thursday. School starts on Monday. So you see, I saw God work in a very remarkable way during all of this. It was His way, not my way. I would have had a job and everything would have worked out a lot quicker than all of this. But what I noticed in all of this is how that He used all these different people to make all of this work. Some who knew about what I was praying about and what I was searching for, and some who didn't have a clue about it. And I got to thinking about all the people that God used. God used this teacher, who I actually never really met. She used this unruly class of kids. She used this principal, this banker friend of mine, a young couple who allowed me to stay in their house for several weeks to start teaching before I could get my family moved. It was just a lot of ways I saw God working, and I was really, truly able to really experience Him. And it kind of goes along with, I guess maybe one of the reasons I was thinking about all this was because we've just finished this series about Joseph and talk about seeing someone experience God and how God uses different people and instruments. We've seen that through this whole series. So I just want to remind you as we kind of finish that series up and all that, just to remember to look and see what God is doing every day in your life through the people around you, the circumstances around you, and seek to see what God is doing so that you can truly experience God too. I'll say that whole experience was probably one of the best experiences I ever had with the Lord, and watching Him work and seeing Him work. So I encourage you to do that. Be on the lookout what God's doing. Join Him in that and experience God in a great way. I hope you have a great week. See you Sunday. Bye-bye.